Welcome everybody to our second Mind Body Monday. I'm so happy to see you all here, and I see we have some new faces. So welcome everybody. It's a real privilege to be kicking off this second Mind Body Monday. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to see the replay, I invite you to check out the replay it's in the Facebook group, and it's going to be posted to my YouTube channel shortly. So I invite you to join those venues. If you don't have either of those, leave the Facebook group, then we'll be sending it out in a couple of weeks to the email list. Because in the first opening session, I shared my vision. We discussed what the structure of this 30 to 45 minute Mind Body Mondays is really all about. And most importantly, what's in it for you? What are you going to get out of it in terms of my intention? And lastly, when you play out fully in the chat by asking questions related to our topic and responding, I'm going to be giving away prizes, as I mentioned last week. And today, I'm going to be giving out special prizes. So I encourage you to play fully out in the chat. So for those of you who haven't met me yet before, my name is Avraham Gundle. I'm trained as an osteopath and naturopath. I've been in private practice for almost 30 years. And over that time, I've been privileged to really have helped and been enabled, facilitated the healing of literally thousands of people suffering from chronic health disorders, not only gut issues and anxiety, but autoimmune conditions, skin challenges, diabetes, heart conditions, you name it. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share some of my in the trenches experience with you on Mind Body Mondays. So before we jump into the topic for tonight, which is the importance of the gut-brain connection, I want to just have a quick disclaimer out of the gate. And if you're watching the replay, I encourage you also to go ahead and type comments in the replay as well, because I do see those. And that's helpful for me to know where you're at and how to serve and create these content for Mind Body Mondays. The disclaimer is that I believe in individualized care, and even though there's going to be a lot of content coming your way tonight and in general Mind Body Mondays, I really invite you and encourage you to consult with your own healthcare professional or advisor. That way you can take the right steps at the right time to advance your health and well-being. So we're going to kick off with the check-in, and this is part of the structure I mentioned last week. The check-in is a very simple and elegant self-regulation tool that really calms down the sympathetic fight and flight response and upregulates the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's the parasympathetic nervous system that's so important to put the body in a gear that's going to facilitate healing at the highest and quickest level. It's in deep sleep, deep REM sleep, also that the parasympathetic system is working, which is where all the cellular healing and refreshment, restoring of the brain is also happening. So this is a technique that I've been practicing myself for well over 30 years. And doesn't always have to be an eyes closed process like we're going to be doing today. And obviously, if you're driving, it's not a good idea to do an eyes closed process, so you can listen. And then when you come to watch the replay or listen again, you can allow yourself to close your eyes. And the reason we do that is because our eyes just bring in input from the outside world, and there's often a distraction. So I believe that self-care is the heart of healthcare. So healing starts at home. And that's why the mother on the plane is invited to put her oxygen mask on first over her baby, because when she's in a good space, she can take care of her baby and her family, etc. So we're going to be starting Mind Body Mondays with a quick check-in, a couple of minutes, which hopefully over the weeks your nervous system will learn this skill, because a big part of the successful life is a successful nervous system. That means responding out of choice and not reacting out of a knee-jerk response, which often can get us into trouble, and we can regret what we maybe said or done or not said or not done. So go ahead and type in the chat so I can get a sense of where are you right now. If you just get a sense from 1 to 5. 5 is high stress, high tension, pain, discomfort in your body, mind, etc. And 1 is just really chilled, really relaxed, really calm. Body's feeling good. So go ahead, just type in the chat. If you see me looking over to the side, that's only because I've got 2 screens, and this way I can monitor the chat as well. So go ahead, type in the chat and let me know from 1 to 5, how do you rate yourself now in terms of your presence levels, stress levels, body relax levels? Just type in, 1 is chilled and relaxed, 5 is really stressed out. So go ahead, let's have some numbers. Good, good. And if you want to put names in there as well, sometimes a digital response is easier for the brain to deal with, but you can certainly put a number in there. So if you are at a 5, you can type in whatever 5 means for you: stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, annoyed, angry, depressed, whatever. And 1 could be relaxed, or compose, or whatever that means for you. So go ahead and type in some words as well. Good. We've got a 3, not a 5, correct? Okay. Okay, good, excellent. Any words that accompany that? Go ahead, type in the chat. What are you feeling right now in your body, in your mind? Frazzled from the day. It's only Monday, I know, but here in Israel, Monday is the 2nd day of the week, because it's good to know where you are at to right this moment before we do the check-in. Super. 3, tired. Yes, I can resonate with that. Good, good. Well, I'm engaged, so I'm at like a 3, but it's a good engagement, but my body is feeling quite relaxed because I did some vigorous rebounding before our session today. So, okay, thanks for those comments. Let's take a nice, and if you're watching the replay, by the way, type those comments as well, because I get to see them. So I'm going to be guiding a very short process, and the more you do this, the quicker and more adept you will be at able to regulate yourself and get present to whatever it is you need to get present to. I'm just going to put on a little bit of background music to support this process. So I'm going to invite everyone to take a nice deep cleansing breath in. And as you breathe out, allow your eyes to softly close. You can adjust your music, your speakers if you need. And take another nice deep cleansing breath in. This time as you breathe out, just gently push your shoulders down. Sometimes they kind of creep up around our ears through our busy day. And then taking another nice deep cleansing breath in. And this time as you breathe out, rest your back against the back of the chair and just feel that support. One more deep resting, cleansing breath in. And this time as you breathe out, gather your mind from your day, all the things you've done, all the things you need to do, worries, questions or concerns, and just the next 3 to 5 minutes. Be present, allow yourself to be present here and now. Let your breathing settle down to rhythm and pace that's natural and comfortable for you. Feel your seat sitting comfortably on your chair. Feet resting on the ground. Just taking a moment to gather yourself. Gather yourself right here, right now. This is called Mind Body Monday. So let's gather our mind, gather our body. Just Feel where you experience your breathing the most. Really give yourself this privilege of your own presence. With your own presence. Some people feel they're breathing in their belly, some in their chest, some in their nostrils. There's no right and wrong place. Just notice where you feel yours. And then take a gentle, deeper breath in again. And as you breathe out, settle your shoulders, soften your chest and your face, like your stomach. And taking a moment to gently scan your awareness through your body, from the top of your head, softly, gently, all the way down your body, your own pace, through your head, face, neck, shoulders. Just noticing if there's any pain or tenderness, discomfort or fatigue, all the way down the chest and the belly, down into the pelvis, including a scan down your spine and back. Just checking in with your physical body. How is my body now? All the way down the legs, ankles and feet and toes. And if you can just rate your physical body between 1 and 5. 5 is tight, stressed, pained, in discomfort. 1 is just feeling really okay. Just make a mental note of that number. And take another deep breath in again. And as you breathe out this time, bring your awareness into your chest area, your heart center. I sometimes even like to put my hands over my chest, just to tap in, sense into my emotional world. Just get a sense of how you're feeling emotionally right now. Suspending any judgment, just noticing the truth. Because the truth will set you free. Emotionally, how are you? How are you doing emotionally? Just for yourself. 5 is closer to strong, negative emotions, upset, overwhelmed, angry, anxious, etc. And 1 is closer to really buoyant, wholesome, positive, emotional qualities. Happy, contented, connected, love. Whatever it happens to be for you, just make a mental note. Where are you right now? If you don't know, that's also okay. Just notice that. I'm feeling grateful to have this opportunity. That's what's coming up for me now. And once again, a gentle breath in. Coming back to neutral. And bring your awareness into your mind, into your head space. And notice how busy or calm or settled your mind is. Again, suspending all judgment. 5 is closer to busy, engaged, overwhelmed in the mind. Almost like a snow globe that you've shaken up and everything's all snow and glitter is all the whole snow globe. You can't actually see the image that's inside. Again, suspending all judgment, just notice what is. And 1 is really calm, settled. And just notice what that is for you. And taking another gentle breath in again. And this time as you breathe out, settle your mind, settle your emotional world, settle your body. Just be with yourself for half a minute or so, just breathing, be present with yourself. That you've committed this time on a Monday, or if you're watching a replay, you've committed this time for yourself because there's something you need, something you want, something you're looking for to get through. Really acknowledge and celebrate you showing up here now, because many people aren't. You have. Well done. Spontaneous prayer wants to surface from inside your heart. Just let that bubble up to your lips, just audible enough for your own ears, personal and private. Take a moment to do that if that feels right. And knowing you can always return to this and deepen in your own process. But for now, just acknowledging yourself for showing up in this way. And then when you're ready, taking a nice, deeper breath in. Opening your eyes and coming back to the Zoom room. Well done. Well done. Go ahead, and I'm very curious. For those who are new to the check-in, or for those of you who are more familiar with the work of the check-in through working with me, go ahead, just type in the chat what you noticed. What did you notice with the check-in? What came up for you? What awarenesses, insights, learnings? Go ahead, type in the chat what came up for you in the check-in. What shifted? Did your numbers from the beginning change? Go ahead, type in the chat. What was that check-in like for you? What did you notice? Did your numbers shift from the beginning? Okay. Very good. I find the check-in an extremely powerful and elegant process to help me transition in different states in my day, from work mode to family time, from family time to meeting mode to whatever happens to be. I can just be present at each stage. So we're going to move on. Yes, David mentioned in the chat, I became more aware of how exhausted I am, being pushing myself and hadn't realized. Thank you, David. You know, that's my experience too. And we'll touch on that a little bit today. Yes, the check-in is a pause practice where we get a chance to check in literally to ourselves, like the hotel in which we live, right? Thank you. That's very important. And just that realization itself already begins to shift the mind-body connection, the physiology. We'll explain more in future Mind-Body Mondays. So I'm wanting to share with you firstly a model for understanding change, that we're all here for a reason, and change, like David mentioned in the chat, is that one can't change without awareness. One needs to be conscious of an issue for it to change, or for you rather to take responsibility to change it. So I'm just curious, type in the chat right now, what area in your life, you're here for a reason, Mind Body Monday, what area in your life would you like to have changed? Or would you like to see change? Could be something in the your physical life, nutrition, weight, health, something's, joint pain, you want that to go. What do you want changed? Or something in your emotional world, or something in your relationships? What do you want changed? Where do you need to bring the spotlight on? Go ahead, type in the chat. If you're again watching the replay, type in the comments And type in the chat now, what do you want to change in your life? Something to do with health. Maybe you want to learn more. Maybe you want to free yourself up from pain. Maybe you want to get some more calm in your life. What is it for you? Thank you. Someone's written, get rid of IBS. You in the right place. Relax more. Excellent. This is exactly what Mind Body Mondays is really going to be focusing on as well. Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead. What do you want to change or have changed? Be more present, calm, and achieve more. Fantastic. That's available. And once you're aware of that, the brain will sort for that because focus goes where energy flows. That's excellent. Very good. So I'm going to be toggling between this screen and my shared screen with you because I want to just quickly talk you through a model that I find extremely liberating in terms of levels of consciousness. And this model helps me to understand the learning curve because we are learning here and you're going to be learning things that are new. And sometimes if you're not able to integrate things, people get frustrated. Well, I'm not managing yet. And there's judgment starts coming up. And if you know that there are 4 distinct levels of consciousness where change occurs over these 4 levels, then it gears you towards really a positive growth mindset because you understand where you are. You can be more compassionate and understanding to yourself as you move through this. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And over here, we have 4 levels of consciousness. So level 1 is what is called unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence. Let's take a health topic like drinking more water. That being said, I have my 1 liter bottle that I try and get through at least 2.5 a day. I'm just going to start my 3rd bottle right now. Let's say a person, at the end of the day, they feel really tired, they feel exhausted. They drink more coffee because they're exhausted, or they eat because they're feeling exhausted. They have dry skin, dry lips, and perhaps constipated, and they're not aware that they're actually dehydrated, and they're not drinking enough, because research talks about having an ounce per pound, probably close to half an ounce to an ounce per pound, an ounce of water per pound of body weight. So if they're not drinking enough, so they have an unconscious incompetence. They're not taking action to simply hydrate themselves. And then as they become aware, hey, well, maybe I'm dehydrated, or maybe I'm not drinking enough. So then they begin to focus on what they can do, and they're moving into conscious incompetence. They're consciously aware that they need to drink more water. But, they haven't quite worked it out, how to get it in their day, or maybe they haven't even, bought a BPA bottle, or they're drinking tap water, or what it happens to be. They just haven't quite worked. So they're incompetent, but they're conscious of that incompetence. And then as they work through and focus on drinking more water, because that confers so many health benefits, they move into what's called conscious competence, where they are consciously doing the drinking water thing, and they're scheduling it in their day. They've got the water bottle at work, they've got the water bottle at home, and they've got an alarm on their phone, etc. And they're managing themselves, so they're competent. And at that stage, if they fall off the wagon and sort of have a bad drinking water day, they can very often fall into beating themselves up because, like, hey, I haven't drunk enough, and how, go into self-judgment and self-beration if that's where their mindset will take them. But if they stop for a moment and say, hang on, there's 4 levels of consciousness. I've only graduated to level 3. I'm conscious and I'm competent, and that's okay. And I'm going to graduate with time to what's called unconscious competence, where water drinking, using that example, is just a flow, so to speak, through your day, and you just got it in, you're not focusing it on, it's just built into the fabric of your day, and you're hydrating beautifully according to your body needs, according to the demands of your life. And that's why this, as we go through our Mind Body Monday trainings, having this in the back of your mind will give you a little bit of slack when you haven't quite integrated the changes that you would like to make, or you're not even sure what you need to change, then you can always come back and plug yourself into one of these areas and be more compassionate with yourself as you do that. So I'm just curious for a moment. Take a minute. Once again, there's going to be prizes at the end of this session for people who play full out in the chat. And the question really is how competent or conscious, aware do you feel you are at the things you need to do to take your health to the next step? So, you know, let's see. Okay, go ahead. Type in the chat. Type in the chat where you are on this level from 1 to 4, in terms of where you think you need to make changes, or where you're not sure you need to make changes. How confident are you in your ability to do that? Just type in, 1, 2, 3, and 4, or not sure. Okay. Good. Very good. So have this in mind as you go along to, yes, someone shared eating habits. Good. Very good. Until that's so part of your lifestyle. I went to a celebration this morning, and I took along with me my own bread, because I didn't want to rely on, the quality of bread be at the mercy of the caterer per se. So that is just an unconscious competence. I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm just sort of like, that's just what I do. It's part of who I am in one expression of guarding and nurturing and cultivating my healthcare. Great. Someone's mentioned sleeping needs to be improved. Very good. And once you have that awareness, you can begin to take strides. That would be a conscious competence, or maybe a conscious incompetence, whatever you feel. Okay, fantastic. So moving on to really the topic that we're here for is, there's so much emphasis we put on gut health, and having a healthy gut is so much more than not being annoyed by a little bit of bloating or heartburn, or gas or diarrhea or constipation. It's the occasional stuff is not what gut health is all about. And you're going to really see very quickly how important gut health is, even though you may be somewhat or totally symptom-free. Being symptom-free does not mean there isn't something brewing. So let's have a look at this a little bit, because the gut health is really central to our entire physical, mental, and emotional health. It is the gatekeeper to our well-being, because it's in our gut that nutrients are absorbed, digested, and assimilated, brought into our bloodstream, that vitalizes, heals, and energizes our entire body. So having a healthy, vibrant gut is so important. I like to see the gut as like an orchestra. Every single instrument of that, every single element of the digestion is like this 50-piece orchestra. Everyone needs to play at the right time, in the right harmony, in the right sequence and synchronicity. That's exactly how the gut works as well. So let's take a look at something called the microbiome. Now, some of you are familiar with that. It's definitely a trending term. And if you've done my previous inner circle trainings, where we go into a much deeper level of what this is really all about, you'll be introduced to the microbiome, because the working definition of a microbiome is it's made up from fungi, bacteria, protozoa, viruses, and a huge mass of living organisms inside our gut. I like to see it as a rainforest. And on my world travels, I've been through the Amazon forest and the forest in Borneo, as I've studied traditional healing from cultures around the world. And a rainforest floor is a is a teeming mass of living organisms and species, life species, and that's exactly what's going on in a healthy gut. And it's a healthy gut, healthy microbiome really depends on a diversity right there, and it needs to be in the right balance for us to be vibrant. So let's look at some of the jobs of a healthy microbiome. When you understand this, so much will begin to make sense, because you have a look here for a minute. The key job description of a healthy microbiome is really the cornerstone of our immune system. Keeping our immune system primed is about having a healthy microbiome. It is, and also produces vitamins, specifically B's and K's. And the microbiome provides over 70% of the energy of the colon through a substance called butyric acid. And there is so much research done with something called NGF, which is brain nerve growth factor. And brain nerve growth factor is so interesting because it stimulates memory and learning. So if you want to be able to enhance your memory, it's not only about cognitive development, but it's also about nurturing your microbiome in the right way. And some of you have probably heard that the gut is dubbed the second brain, because half of our dopamine and more than 95% of our serotonin, these are brain neurotransmitters, are actually produced in our gut, in the microbiome. So having a healthy gut will actually settle you and to have a happy outlook on life. It sounds so unusual, but it's the truth, because dopamine and serotonin are our happy hormones. In fact, dopamine plays such an important role in brain functioning and in pleasure centers of our brain. It stimulates the heart rate, the kidney function, ability to think, strategize, and plan. This is all through dopamine, and half of it is produced in our gut. Serotonin stabilizes our mood and makes us feel good, and feelings of euphoria and happiness. And again, helps nerve cells communicate with one another. So, as I said in the beginning, not having heartburn or occasional digestive upset is not what a healthy gut is about. We're dealing with a whole different level of health and well-being within the gut, because our emotional well-being is absolutely predicated on a healthy microbiome. So let's have a look at some things that can affect the gut negatively. So specific fibers, specifically low fibers or no fibers, really are not a good thing for the gut. High sugar processed foods and poor nutrient quality foods. They may taste yummy, but they actually knock the microbiome out of balance. And poor quality fats is another one. Stress is a major issue in damaging the microbiome. And that's why the check-in process we did in the beginning, and my prize today for the person who plays the most in the chat, is geared towards training the parasympathetic nervous system, because that disrupts stress. In fact, I came across a very interesting research article in PubMed, and I'm just going to read something for you because it's so amazing. That a PubMed recent study showed that stress and depression can actually reshape the bacteria in the gut through stress hormones, cause inflammation, and affect the immune system. So that stress, physical or emotional stress, can actually reshape the microbiome, and that will then set off a chain of chemical reactions and neurological reactions to affect the body in a less than positive way. In fact, the research continues to say that it will cause the gut bacteria to release chemical toxins and hormones, and it can affect mood and behavior poorly. Some bacteria species even encourage dysregulated eating. Now, obviously, we have to take full responsibility. It's not the bacteria's fault per se, but but taking charge of our mindset and our stress levels is so important, because it can really set off a chain reaction where it may be harder to pull back and allow ourselves to heal. So that was an interesting piece of research of the power of stress through raising cortisol levels and stimulating histamine reaction and a whole lot of inflammatory markers in the body, all mediated through the microbiome in the gut. And then other things that can negatively affect the microbiome are the use of certain long-term use of certain medications, acid blocking drugs, steroids, anti-inflammatories, etc. These can really interrupt the healthy flow of the development of the microbiome, and obviously alcohol as well, used incorrectly, can really disrupt that. So let's just take a minute, and that was quite a lot of information in terms of what the microbiome is, what it does, and what can cause a disruption. So this is actually one of the reasons that when people come to see me, specifically with chronic health challenges, physical issues or emotional challenges, be it anxiety or depression, or whatever it happens to be, it is so important to start with the gut, and I treat the gut. One of my strategies to treat the gut first. And just through treating the gut, I was recently able to help a 8-year-old girl who suffered most of her life from chronic eczema. And yes, I suggested some creams and lotions for the skin, but my main treatment was through healing the microbiome, because I understand how much the microbiome can impact the healing, which it did in her case. So let's all take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, bring yourself back here, and just let's go back to, as we move towards closing, Mind Body Mondays is already half an hour to 45 minutes. Quick check-in for the week. And I'm going to leave you with a challenge for the week. Last week's challenge was just becoming more aware of the mind-body connection. If those of you who didn't get to be with me last week, you can get the replay. And I invite you to join my YouTube channel. In fact, I could post in the chat the YouTube channel link, because that way you're able to, let me just get that up. There we go. In fact, there we go. I'll just put that in the chat quickly. And if you do have Facebook, by the way, then the community is growing really rapidly. There's a lot of interaction where people get to comment and ask questions. Replays are also posted there. The replays will be posted on our on my YouTube channel, and also eventually in a few weeks' time they'll be post in the email replay, your email reminders as well. So the invitation for this week's challenge, I'm going to leave you with a challenge this week to check in with yourself this week at least once. The check-in is on 3 levels. Just simply checking in with your body. How are you? How are you feeling? Just ask yourself the question, how am I doing? How am I feeling? Check in with your emotional world. What are you present to right now? And then busyness in the mind, because the check-in will feed information back to your conscious mind, which will help your unconscious mind begin to regulate itself. It's almost like those little emoji speed warning signs. As you're going down a hill in my neighborhood, we've got one of those, and if you're going too fast, it has like an angry face. When you're going the right speed, it gives you a nice emoji, smiley face, and that feeds back information to the driver to adjust. So too, when you give yourself this feedback, it helps you to self-regulate. Self-regulation kicks in the parasympathetic nervous system, which causes accelerated healing in the body, and down regulates the sympathetic, the fight and flight response, which turns off cortisol and the whole stress response and settles your microbiome. So right there. The check-in really does it all. So I invite you all to explore with a check-in. And remember, you're learning something new. You may not be fully competent yet at the check-in, so cut yourself some slack as you learn it. And I'll really be curious, if you're on Facebook, post in the Facebook how you got on with the check-in. And otherwise, just make a note for yourself. And next week, 8 o'clock, Israel time, we'll kick off with a check-in and taking some feedback. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for showing up, playing full out in the chat. And it looks like I'm going to actually have to go through the chat to see who played out most fully. And any closing comments to from anybody, that way I'll be able to give the prize and I'll celebrate and share who the winner was next week, and we'll post it as well in the Facebook group. So go ahead. Any closing comments, chats, thoughts, questions before we close for tonight? Once again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for giving me the opportunity to share my Mind Body Monday with you. And you've got the Facebook group to join, the YouTube channel to subscribe to, and a check-in challenge to explore this week. Okay, wishing you all the very best. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.